Okay, we can start now.
Okay. Hi guys. So this is gonna be our AP Psych review. So the way it's gonna go is we're gonna give you guys a bunch of like MCQ questions to answer. You can send your answers in the chat. And we will like let you know what the answers are, explain a little bit about what the answers are, and we'll let you know which units you should focus on a little bit more based on the questions you get wrong. And yeah, Stephanie just sent study guides into the chat. So here are the first couple questions. Feel free to take some time and answer them, and you can send your answers into the chat. We'll go over them in about 5 minutes.
Wait, Grace, I can't see your screen.
Um, oh, sorry. Can you guys see it now? Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, take some time to go through the questions and we'll go over them soon.
Oh, and you guys can like give us like the thumbs up emoji if you guys are ready to continue.
For those who are just joining, take like a couple minutes to answer these questions and we'll go through them.
Okay, well, we'll continue in like 1 minute. Okay, do you guys want to explain the answers?
Okay, so the answers for these ones are one is C, two is E, three is B, four is D, five is V, and six is D. And so if you got these questions wrong, you would want to study a little more of Unit 4 for number 1, Unit 5 for number 2, Unit 3 for Unit 3, Unit 1 for for number 4, Unit 3 for 5, and then Unit 4 for 6. So going through each of the questions, the first one is a psychotherapist who believes that deviant behavior can be traced either to genetic anomalies or to problems in the physical structure of the brain, most likely subscribes to which of the following views of abnormality. So this one, it's biomedical because it's asking about genetics and physical structures of the brain, which is all part of the biological approach. Number two is a person with obsessive compulsive disorder is best described as an individual who experiences. The answer is persistent anxiety provoking thoughts. This is because OCD is a combination of obsessive behaviors and compulsive thoughts. And so those compulsive thoughts are basically the same thing as this persistent anxiety provoking thoughts. Number three, a research design involves two randomly assigned groups of participants. One group receives a one-time treatment and the other does not. And later, the two groups are compared to see whether this treatment had an effect. And psychologists call this kind of research an experiment. And this is because usually the way you can tell the difference between all of these is that if there is a treatment that is given, then most likely it is an experiment. Number four is the area of the brainstem that is important in controlling breathing is the medulla. Number five is egocentrism, animism, and artificialism are characteristic of which of Jean Piaget's stages of cognitive development, and that is the pre-operational stage. There's a little bit of a typo here, but basically, yeah, that's what it is. Which of the following would be an industrial organizational psychologist be least likely to study? And this would be corporate profitability because usually industrial psychologists are more like trained in things that are more internal to the company that they work for and things that are more psychological than things like economic profit. So here are some more questions. Take some more time to answer those. And feel free to put your answers in the chat.
Once you guys are done, can you guys please like write done in the chat? Okay, I think we can move on.
Okay. Um, so the answer for number 7 is A. The answer for number 8 is D. The answer for number 9 is B. The number answer for number 10 is E. Answer for number 11 is E. Answer for number 12 is D. 13 is C and 14 is D. And so if you got number 7 wrong, then you would study unit 5, 8 unit 4, 9 unit 5, 10 unit 1, 11 unit 1, 12 unit 4, 13 unit 4, 14 unit 3. So let's go through each of the questions. Number 7, Vic has unpredictable and repeated attacks of overwhelming anxiety that frequently leave him dizzy, nauseous, short of breath, and in tears. A psychologist is likely to view Vic's behavior as indicative of um, panic disorder, is the answer, because out of all of these, that's pretty much the only one that is an anxiety adjacent disorder. And because it's frequent, that means it's a disorder and not just a breakdown or a reaction. 8. A stereotype is defined as which of the following? The answer is a generalization about a social group. 9 is Raphael has a sleep disorder for which he takes medically prescribed amphetamines. For which of the following sleep disorders is Raphael most likely to be treated? So the answer for this one is narcolepsy. That one's just kind of memorization, knowing which ones work for which disorders. Number 10 is the perceived pitch of a tone is largely determined by its frequency. Yeah, so frequency is determined by the pitch of the tone, or sorry, the pitch of the tone is determined by the frequency. And that's because the different areas of the ear that like vibrate have to do with that. Um, and then 11, balance is influenced by the semicircular canals. Um, And so like a big way, um, I don't really remember what the sense was called, but I believe it was the vestibular sense, which is the one where you're aware of like your balance and where you are. Um, and so that sense it works with your ears and like the ears let you know like kind of where your position is in the world, and that's why it's able to give you that balance. Number 12, humanistic psychologists believe that the drive towards self actualization is innate. And so, if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, basically everything on that hierarchy is Maslow thinks is uh, innate and like So number 13 is a stubborn individual who accuses peers of being uncooperative is exhibiting which of the following defense mechanisms? So the answer is projection, and that's because this is the defense mechanism where you kind of, I think most of you have probably heard of this because it's like a pretty commonly used word nowadays, but this person is stubborn themselves, and so because they're accusing other people of being uncooperative, is projecting. Um, that onto other people. And then number 14 is Harry Harlow's experiments with monkeys suggest which of the following as most important for infants when establishing an attachment to their mothers. And D is the tactile characteristics of the mother. So if you guys remember, the experiments were that he would put like cloth, I believe, or like some sort of like figure that resembled like mother characteristics, like it was like warm and soft and that sort of thing. And the monkeys became attached to those things even though they weren't their actual mothers. So here are the next questions. Take some time to look at those. Okay, so there was a question in the chat asking what the amplitude of the sound waves means. So let me go back really quickly. Sorry. So over here, number 10. So the amplitude of waves have to do with how, like the volume of the sound that you're listening to. So like a larger amplitude would mean a larger sound, and a smaller amplitude would mean like a smaller sound. So let's say like there was a sound, like let's say I had my headphones on, like the music that would be playing would be have a higher amplitude than like if I heard a ball being thrown outside my house, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. Okay, we can go back. Yeah, you guys can take a look at these questions, and let me know when you guys are done. Okay, so since the meeting's ending soon, I'm gonna try to go a little bit quicker through this. Yeah, so there are pretty important things to note that Stephanie and Gracie have been sending into the chat, so take a look at those. Okay, so number 15. is D. Number 16 is D. Number 17 is E. Number 18 is B. Number 19 is A. Number 20 is A. Number 21 is D. And number 22 is B. So if you are struggling with these, you should study Unit 1 for questions 15, 16, 18, and 19, Unit 4 for 17, Unit 5 for 20 and 23, and then Unit 2 for 21. Or, sorry, I meant Unit 5 for 20 and 22. Okay, so 15, the biological clock that operates in human beings to adjust their functioning to night and day periodicity is referred to as a circadian rhythm. So you guys have probably heard of this before, but basically the reason why like we all like are able to get up in the morning, like it's not just because of sunlight, but like our body has a certain clock that wakes us up or makes us tired around the time that we're supposed to go to sleep. So number 16, visual acuity is best in the fovea, that's the part of the eye. Individuals who believe that an unpleasant experience is unavoidable and therefore do nothing to change the course of events are exhibiting learned helplessness. So if you remember, I'm not sure if Miss Tevlin said this, but there was an experiment where like rats would be put in boxes. I mean, this is pretty much every psych experiment. But they would be put in boxes and they would be given like a button to press, but the button wouldn't do anything. And so then after a while, they just kind of learned that nothing's going to happen. And so they ended up like losing all hope. And so that's learned helplessness. So then 18, which of the following systems produces, circulates, and regulates levels of hormones in the body? So whenever they talk about hormones, that is the endocrine system. 19 is the brain scans of people with amnesia are most likely to show damage to the hippocampus. That's because the hippocampus has to do with memory. Number 20, in treating a patient for depression, Dr. Pratt focuses on changing the ways in which the patient interprets events. Which type of therapy is Dr. Pratt using? This is cognitive because when it says the word interpretation or interprets, that definitely has to do with the cognitive approach. Number 21 is understanding that things continue to exist even when they are not within view is called object permanence. So that is something that, if you remember, develops at a young age, where basically like if a baby were to see an object being thrown out of their sight, they would be able to know that it exists even though they can't see it. And that's the reason, like, for example, that the game Peekaboo is so appealing to babies is because when you hide behind your hands, like, to them, like, you don't exist, and then you, like, Peekaboo pop out, whatever. 22 is when is it permissible for a psychologist to share a client's test scores with another person? And the answer is when the client provides written permission to share the results. Okay, so there's a question in the chat. What score do you need to get on the test to get a 5? So I'm not sure what it's going to be for this year because the format is completely different than the last couple of years that AP Psych has been going on. And also it differs from year to year based on the curve that they give. So I'm not completely sure. But ideally, I think you would need to get maybe 60 out of 75 or maybe 65 out of 75 on the multiple choice to get a 5. I'm assuming that's what it is, but don't take my word for it. Okay, here are the next couple questions. Our meeting's ending in 5 minutes, so maybe try to answer these ones a little bit quickly. That way we can get it done faster. Even though the meeting's ending soon, I have a lot of questions after this, so if you guys want, you can probably rejoin afterwards. Um,
Yeah, we can
after,
rejoin.
yeah, for the other questions. But yeah, yeah, take the time to look at these. Somebody asked, what about the FRQ? Again, I'm not really sure because of the difference in format. So I'm assuming the FRQ is worth 25 points if the MCQ is 75. And if so, I'd say maybe aim for like a 15 to 20 in order to get um, a 5 on the exam. Okay, so somebody's asking for some tips on how to answer FRQs. So the biggest thing is definitely making sure that it is clear, like whatever term they give you to apply to the scenario, make sure it's clear that you know what like the term means. So like for example, from last year's FRQ, they asked about Gracie Stephanie, you remember that term where it's like if you cover depth
Ret
perception. Sorry,
Oh, I
I
thought
remember.
retinal disparity.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's probably what they
Yeah.
asked. So they asked for about retinal disparity, and so make sure it's very clear that you explain or like at least kind of imply that you know what retinal disparity is, and like and then apply it directly to the scenario. And you can also like don't just limit yourself to like whatever is said in the scenario. For certain questions, you can like kind of make some things up that still are in context within the scenario.
You should be
Um,
able to define the term that they give you and apply it to the scenario presented in the FRQ. And also, don't be too wordy with it. You should be able to be like, what, concise.
yeah, yeah, you can be very clear and straightforward as well because they really like that. And then in order to like study for it, I'd say just do like some practice questions. But also like something that really helped me for psych specifically is that since psych is a very vocabulary heavy like class, I made like a huge like flashcards like on like note, and I just kind of looked at those like over and over again like before the AP exam. So yeah, that would be probably the best thing just in general for the whole exam. Yeah. Since the meeting's ending, make sure to rejoin. We have like a lot more questions for you guys to try.